Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Not Another Isekai and more anime every week. Um, yeah, we got some this week. Getting real close. Say it every week. I'll keep saying it until it's over. But yeah, some of these shows we only have like 3 episodes left. So yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah, good stuff. Trying to think of any like no delays finally. First week I feel like in like a month where we haven't had any episodes be delayed, and hopefully that's true for the rest, so that we can just move all the rest of these out, finish them up to the conclusion. Also gearing towards next season, right? So that would be summer, right? Yeah, summer 2023. So getting interested in that. But yeah, let's get into it. Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 22. This one was, we got a little bit of Thorfinn, right? Thorfinn kind of showing his resilience, and then conversation with Canute. So, yeah, I really like this episode because, I like the one line he says. This isn't verbatim, but he does he does kind of question Snake, and he's like, did you put in all the effort you could into trying to resolve this with just words? Because Snake comes over to him. Snake and Omar finally get there. Because they were trying to get there to like say, hey, we surrender. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like super mad, right? And he's like, what are you doing? This is crazy. But and then he says, hey, we had to war. We had to do sword on sword because you know if this could have been resolved with words, we would have done that already. We tried all that stuff, right? And then Thorfinn claps back and says that he's like, did you really try? And I like this new evolution of Thorfinn. We talked about it all season, but as much as I love the like killer, the like I don't know another word, just just warrior Thorfinn. As much as I love him from season one, um, this kind of refurbished Thorfinn is pretty cool too. He's super against war, and so for him to come back with that and say, hey, did we really do everything we could have? And even beyond that, a little bit further down the line, he talks about how like we just met today. There's no reason for us to hate each other. Him talking to the rest of the army, right? Because it's just like, I don't know any of you people. None of you know me. Why are we fighting each other? Why are we killing each other? Like this beef isn't between us. It's between Kettle and Canute. And then he makes some kind of joke about them playing some sort of game. I don't know what kind of game it is. Imagine it's like a board game or something. um, but he's like, it's their beef. Why are we fighting? Why are we shedding our blood, losing loved ones? Other loved ones out there are never gonna see their father or their brother or their son ever again because of these two people who have beef with each other. Um, it's a very interesting way to look at it, right? Um, they're obviously like professional soldiers. They chose to do this. They chose to fight for their king or their master, I guess, in Kettle's sake. Um, but yeah, I do really like that. I wonder where exactly that's gonna go. Um, we do have towards the end of the episode when Thorfinn and Canute have their little conversation. Um, I like the realization on everyone on Canute's side, where they talk about how Thorfinn is the one who gave Canute his scar. It's like, oh, that's like a big thing. I thought that was cool. We do see also, this is something I was wondering the whole season. I don't know if we knew about this. I don't think we did. But there's a big question of like, how did Thorfinn become a slave? And we see that it's confirmed here. Again, I don't know if this is a reconfirm, if we already knew this and we just forgot, or I definitely forgot. But we see that it was Canute that made him a slave. I don't exactly know why. It doesn't really explain it here. I don't know if it's just for the scar, which I don't really think, unless it was just to like save face. Um, yeah, I don't really know. But yeah, we see that's how that began. That's how that came to be. Um, yeah, and then and then Canoe has this whole thing about building a paradise would be a rebellion against God, basically saying that like this is what humans do. This is what He created us to do. You look all throughout history. This is what we've always done. So my little thing about wanting to build a paradise, never gonna happen. And not only is it never gonna happen, it never should happen. Um, just like a complete opposite view as to what Thorfinn has. And it was also really funny because the dude has like the bandage over his eye, not the eye patch guy that Thorfinn was fighting, the other guy. When he was talking to Thorfinn, he was like, when you talk to the king, you'll see what is in his heart." And I guess this is kind of what he was talking about. Again, just like super opposite from whatever Thorfinn wants to do. War is super unnecessary, and Canute, from his point of view, you can say, oh well, he kind of feels the same way. He just sees that as like more of a necessary evil. But again, Thorfinn and even Einar coming in there as well, coming in Rohat, they're like, no, I don't think that's true. I think there are ways we can go about this. I think there are ways that you could, make the world a better place without war. So again, just like two completely opposite, competing principles, which is unfortunate. And then Canute at the end of the day says, I'm gonna need this farm. So there's no way he's leaving. So that's where it kind of ends. Again, I really like a lot of the different characters' ideologies are kind of came out in this episode. Not necessarily for the first time, but all out in the open, so we know where everyone is at, right? So I really like that. And then then it kind of just ends with sort of a cliffhanger. Sort of just leaving us with something to ponder, where it's like, I wonder how this is gonna go. Because Canute's not backing down. He's superior. He has a superior army, superior force. If they wanted to, they could just decimate everyone here. Doesn't really want to do that, but so now I feel like the ball is kind of in Thorfinn's court or in Kettle's court. We already know though that like Kettle, Omar is coming there to surrender. So it's like, they're still gonna do that. Thorfinn doesn't want to surrender. We know that. That's why he came over here. He wants peace, which is different than surrendering. I just don't think they're gonna get that. But then I also don't think that Thorfinn's gonna go into warrior mode and just be like, all right, you said I gotta kill everyone. Say less. I don't think that's gonna that's the type of time that he's on. So, and again, I think there's only 2 more episodes, maybe 3. I don't remember if this is a 24 episode or 25 episode season. I guess it's 2 course, but I don't remember. So 2 to 3 more episodes left. Only so much can happen in 2 to 3 episodes, especially where we are right now with the story. So it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Very, very excited to see how this kind of wraps up. And then I'm not familiar with the source material with the manga. I believe the manga's over. I believe the manga ended like relatively recently, right? Like a couple years ago, something like that. I would think that there's more manga than the last few episodes of the season. So it'd be really cool to see like kind of how this wraps up, and then how they set up more story to be like where, because where can kind of Thorfinn go from here? Obviously, we haven't seen where he ends here, so we can only make, so good of a quality of a guess. But yeah, good stuff. Next we got Hell's Paradise, episode 10. This one was pretty cool. We were learning more about Tao. It's kind of the big thing here. and yeah, that was really kind of the only thing. Then we have a bunch of other stuff surrounding it, right? So just some highlights. I do like that the other two characters that came in, don't remember their names, they are agreeing to help Gabimaru. Gabimaru is very smart. He's like, hey, why don't we, why don't I try to get them to work with, to work with me, because he spent, right, just like physically, he just fought off a Tensen and won, almost didn't win, but won. Um, it's now, and it all always comes back to his main goal, which is finding the elixir. He doesn't really care about the elixir. He just cares about finding it so that he can get back to his wife, right? So, um, and and this also proves more and more that he's not just a weapon, right? So I feel like in other stories, a character like this could just be a tool, could just be a weapon, doesn't think for themselves. That's probably how he was when he was a shinobi, which I believe is one of the big reasons why he left, because that was kind of causing turmoil. um, but him kind of sitting there and jeez. And like thinking through this and be like, okay, I could use their help, I could use their knowledge, and also just physically, skill wise, it'd be nice to have a nice little crew, especially when I'm trying to like save this like young girl. She might have information, so we gotta keep her safe, all that good stuff. And then speaking of her, she does grow up a little bit, very strange. Probably has something to do with with the Tao. Or I forget what word they use. It's like tad or something like that. Like stuff that the Tensen drink. Something to do with that. I know she like feeds off because she was also able to use the like force power when she used it against Gabimaru a couple episodes ago. So she's older now. I don't know how that exactly works, but then she can speak. Not super helpful. She does sort of try to explain the Tao stuff. We do cut back to a couple other groups that are explaining it much better than she is. So that's how we get our full understanding as of this point as to what it is. It is kind of like yin and yang. It doesn't really go super in depth into it. I'm still not 100% sure like exactly how it works, but it is this thing where if they're able to kind of harness the power of that, they might be able to beat the Tensen, get to the elixir, and have the happy ending that we're all hoping for. So that's cool. We have those two brothers who were able to escape the pit, which never happens, ever happens, but they're just super strong, right? It was really creepy too, because there's the other humans that were kind of stuck into the wall, like grabbing them and everything, because they're explaining like, oh, they don't want anyone to leave. They want everything to become what they are. So that's why they're maybe subconsciously grabbing at anything that tries to escape. So that was cool. And then we have the introduction of the doshi, which are different than Soshin. Soshin are just the weird like Titan stuff. If you watch Attack on Titan, or just the Titans where they're very low intelligence, just kind of moving on instinct. That sort of weird, creepy, unsettling vibe that all Titans have. Well, not like intelligent Titans, right? Because then don't want to spoil anything, but yeah. So doshi though are their intelligent counterpart, where they can think, they can, they do have sentience. Yeah. Also super strong, sort of immortal as well, because you look at Soshin and it's like they get defeated pretty easily by these guys, and they don't seem to super regenerate from what I've seen, whereas doshi are, I think, closer to Tensen. Because then in this scene the brother like rips off his arm and he's able to grow it back, so that was cool. And then he loses at the cliffhanger at the very end where doshi does jab the one brother right through the chest, and the cliffhanger. So I suppose we're led to kind of question, is he dead? Was that it? Because they can't regenerate. Although there was a question of, did that brother feed on the elixir, right, or whatever, the Tao or the whatever, right? You know, because he was like abnormally fast and abnormally strong. Um, you know, so that kind of goes back a slightly further back to maybe he was like eating some of the. Well, I mean, earlier when we first got introduced to him, we did see a lot of him eating the Soshin, like for food, you know, as if they're animals. And maybe he was also eating some of the people that were in the pit, which maybe he was able to feed on some of the elixir that way. So maybe he did, you know, maybe that is the weird thing that we're gonna come back to next episode, where it's like, oh, he did, you know, he's not like a full Tensen or anything like that, but you know, he does have like super increased strength and speed and maybe some regenerative abilities, which would be pretty cool, pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and then we do have another thing. Gabimaru and his little crew that he has there, they're fighting a bunch of Soshin, but we do see a Doshi kind of in the very back. So I wonder how that's going to play into it, if, you know, that Doshi is also going to try to reason with them, be like, hey, we can talk this out, you know, we don't need to. But at the end of the day, I feel like there is no, like, verbal agreement that they're going to come to. Because Gabimaru and his people are like, no, we're going to the elixir. We're going to get that. That's our goal. There's nothing you can say to, like, persuade us off of that. Like, that's what we need, especially Gabimaru. But then we also have the other guy, the, like, really big guy that's like, I want to be immortal. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You, selfish reason, but okay. So yeah, good stuff. Enjoyed that episode. That was fun. Yeah, only a couple more episodes left, so we'll see exactly how this ends. Again, not familiar with the source material. Don't know if this is just going to cover everything. Yeah, you know, it'd be nice to see more Tensen fight. And yeah, it'd also be cool to see everyone meet up, kind of have this one big battle. So yeah. Next we got Konosuba, an explosion on this wonderful world. Not too much here, I guess. I didn't really write too much down, but you know, this does play a lot into what we know, you know, what we learned when we first met Megumin in the main show, in the main Konosuba show, where this whole episode has been pretty much just her trying to find a party and can't find a party, right? Which it makes perfect sense. I mean, I would kind of feel the same way, where it's like, as a person, she's kind of cool and kind of interesting, maybe kind of fun to be around, but she's not useful. You know, she's useful in like she's very particular. You know, I think Union, was it Union who mentions this? Maybe someone else mentions it too, but it's just like, you're good in very particular situations. You know, like if we're going on a quest to defeat monsters or something, or defeat like one big bad, then you're great, because you can just use your explosion magic, take them all out, boom, 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 you know. But with all this other stuff, you know, like with just like some sort of hunter gatherer type quest, and we might run we might come across some very minor inconveniences. There's nothing you can really do to help, and that's not really fair, especially if you're a beginning adventurer. You know, you can only get certain quests, and then are we just allowing you to sit out on like 90% of our quests just because you're super useful in the 10% or even 5% of like super huge quests that we get? That's not really fair. So overall, you're a adventurer that doesn't really fit into any group. Eventually she does fit into a group, but and also speaking of the eventually fitting into a group, we do see Darkness. We see Darkness there. She's way too eager to keep getting blasted by the like slime goo monsters. So very in line with her character. It's cool, you know. It's cool when shows do this, where it's like, we don't need characters from the main show to be main characters here. We just hear of Aqua a little bit. We briefly see Darkness, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, it also makes a lot of sense because, I feel the same way where it's like, I don't know that I would want Megumi in my party either. Especially as just like a beginner adventure. It's like, I'm not going to be getting any quests anytime soon where you can be helpful. You know? I would think from a very objective point of view, I think Megumin should learn some other smaller spells just to kind of, be helpful in other situations, just kind of use them. But in her mind, she's like, no, can't do it. Can't do it. I mean, are there not any like small explosion magic spells? Just do like little small explosions. Maybe those can kind of, like a grenade or something, like a grenade size of an explosion, not an explosion has to take down half the forest, right? Is there anything like that you can maybe learn? Be kind of cool. But we know from her story, obviously we've seen the past 10 episodes, where it's like, no, she doesn't want to do that because explosion magic saved her life. It really made her want to become a crimson demon, like a master mage or whatever. So it's tough, yeah. And then just at the very end, we see that Megumin makes the smart decision and she teams up with Union. They're going to have a little temporary party. So, yeah. I'm sure that'll work out very nice. I'm sure that won't be Union doing 90% of the work because she can actually use magic. So, we'll see. Very excited to see how this ends, though. There's only a couple more episodes. Again, I'm very interested to see, since this is a prequel, as this plan is only one season, because if this plan is only one season, like a little mini-series type thing, I imagine it will end pretty close to where Konosuba, the main show, starts, where it's like her meeting her group, right, with the main party in Konosuba. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what they have planned, so we'll see. Next, we got My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, episode 10. Yeah, this is more and more. Again, we're just getting every episode getting closer and closer to Yamada and Akane. I think, kind of becoming a thing. This is the whole like hospital sickness episode. Yeah. And yeah, so we do learn a little bit more about Yamada. We saw like some flashbacks of this before, but I do like a little bit, a little bit deeper into it, where we see that he did make a girl cry when he was younger. Basically it was like there was this girl who got like bullied a lot, and she like clung to him. She clung. She felt like safe with him, and there she was like, he's like her only friend and whatever. And so super close, and then she had to leave. Oh my gosh. But then like she had to leave. And I think like he just said something. I mean, just the fact of her leaving, that was like a big deal, right? Not gonna be with them anymore, wondering about like what the future's gonna hold, all that stuff. But then he kind of had his like very very like Yamada, like answer, where he's like very blunt and he doesn't really catch on to certain things very well, especially like social things and social cues and all that stuff. So it just came off as kind of blunt and like he doesn't really care, I guess. And so it kind of made her cry, and that's kind of stuck with him his whole life, which is, that's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate weight to carry on their whole life. Which I don't know, man. I mean, you're young, you say dumb things. it happens, you know. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of like who you are as a person. And even if it is or was, doesn't mean you can't grow, doesn't mean you can't be better, doesn't mean you can't learn, right? Um, so that kind of makes him why he is with people, especially other girls. But yeah, which is so funny because I feel like it's juxtaposed so heavily with how he is towards Akane, where we cut back to what's happening in the moment, and he did save Akane. He saved her, collapsing the bike rack, brought her home, taking care of her, realizing that she's way worse, bring you to the hospital, bring you back home, you're doing well, better, not well, but better. And so it's just like you do care, you do know how to care. It might be a little different for you, might not be, you may not show your emotions same way other people do, but not everyone's the same. So yeah. So yeah, I think this is great. I think that, I mean, even the fact that you cared enough, I mean, you didn't have to do as much as you did, but whether you care enough, I mean, not only shows how much you care about Akane, but also how much you just are capable of caring about other people. Where, look back to what you did as a kid, and it's like, oh, you didn't really care, it meant nothing to me, meant nothing to him, whatever. It's different. It's a different situation, and you can be a different person. But yeah, that's pretty much it there with that episode. I do like Akane has a bunch of books to cope with heartache, because with the whole like breakup with her last boyfriend. I just thought that was funny. And then Yamada helps her with a leg cramp at the end, and then kind of gets put into a little bit of a awkward position at the end with them. When they're both on the bed and her kind of backing up very very hastily, and that's where kind of it cuts. So I don't know if we're gonna get any more of that. Well, I mean, we do see a little bit. There's like a post-credit thing where he leaves. She kind of reaches for him, leaves. So again, we are getting those feelings. I can't wait for it. I can't wait, man. We're getting closer. I mean, this is another classic type of episode when it comes to these like slice of life, romancy type shows, where one character helps another character when they're sick. It's always present in these types of shows. So we're just getting more and more of these puzzle pieces coming together. Only like I said, 2-3 episodes left, so it's all coming together. And yeah, I just think they work really well together. They both are very very odd individuals in their own ways. And yeah, it's very nice. So nice little episode here. Good stuff. Next, we got Skip and Loafer episode 10. One of my favorite shows this season, possibly my favorite show this season. Skip and Loafer episode 10. Yeah, this one was all about the play, the acting, delving a little bit deeper into Shima's life. Yeah. Which I like. That's kind of what I've said a lot. Where it's like, okay, we have Mitsumi, who's the main character, so we know a lot about her, right? But Shima is the other main character, and I feel like we don't know too much. I keep saying we're trying to like peel back his character, and I think this episode does a lot of that, and I think it's good that we learn a lot of it, because I think that we're going to kind of ride that for these last couple episodes. But we'll get there when we get there. So we have Shima, super paranoid, and just agreed to act in the play, which is so relatable. You just kind of get pressured into something. He's like, I can't say no. So he's acting in the play. Mitsumi, on the other hand, while Shima's kind of dealing with all this, Mitsumi's just dealing with saying yes to everything and trying to help everyone. She really wants to, though. I don't think it's one of those things where she's being used by other people. I just think she's volunteering for everything. It's like, hey, you don't really have to do that, but she really wants to because this festival's a big deal for her. And yeah, she just wants to make the most of it, you know. But she looks super tired. She's exhausted. She's ragged. So Shima and Mitsumi both kind of dealing with their own things, right? We get back to the peeling back of Shima's character, and I like we see a little flashback of him when he was young. We see some kind of family trouble. Mom and the dad having a little bit of a fight. And then Shima comes out to kind of console the mom, and he tries to distract her with how well he was memorizing his lines. He starts reciting them, glances over to his mom. The mom looks happy. She's smiling. He resumes his lines more confidently, more just joyously, right? And so that little scene right there tells so much, right? Where it's like, okay, so clearly he had trouble at home. His parents went through a rough patch. Maybe his parents eventually got divorced. That's tough. And then we see, because he already kind of mentioned it earlier, where he was like, "Oh, I acted a lot, because I always seemed to make my mom happy." And so we see proof of that right there, where she has scene of that happening, where, where his mom is happy, where she's like, "Oh, you're just doing so good. You're very impressive, whatever." So that makes a lot of sense as to where it's like, okay, I kept acting because it made mom happy, because, and in turn that made me happy. It made me happy to see my mom happy. Kind of kept everything light, and we'd have to worry about the different sad moments that were happening in life. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it also makes a lot of sense as to why he might want to quit after a certain time, because maybe those, while the acting was a happy thing to cover up the sadness, because that's what it was used for, it will always be inherently linked to that sadness. So it's like, eventually, that might kind of build and build and build in the background to the point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe this is a turning point. Maybe he's already gone through all of that. Maybe now he's going to start acting again, with the help of Mitsumi as the main character, having the main character effect on all the other characters around them. Maybe they'll get back into it. We'll see. And we have a scene where Mitsumi acts a little bit with Shima, which I thought was very cute. Made her feel a lot better, because she was super down in the dumps, getting super tired about everything, letting people down, and then also having Shima there, seemingly taking time out of his day, with him also having a lot of stuff on his mind with the whole having to act thing, and then using that time instead of trying to work through what he's going through to help her out. So now she feels super guilty, right? But acted with her, made her feel better, a nice little light moment. And yeah. And then we kind of end it all with her being like, hey, I'm the type of person that falls on my face a lot, but that means I am an expert in picking myself back up, dusting myself off and getting back to it. And that really resonates with Shima. I think for maybe a couple different reasons, right? Where you don't have to worry about me, sort of thing. Maybe just kind of like a life lesson where it's like, hey, you might fail at things, but that just means that you'll be able to get back up and try again, or get back up and it's okay, that wasn't for me, let's put my energy somewhere else. Losing, failing, falling on your face is not always a bad thing. At the end of the day, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be 100% negative, right? And just like the confidence that she exudes in that statement, which is funny because she has confidence talking about her failing, period, right? I think that maybe resonates with him as well, which is like, after all of this, how can she be so positive? Can that kind of hits his own life, right? So a lot of different things that, again, Mitsumi being the main character has that effect on the other characters, but I do just really like all of that. I do hope that hits him enough. I do want to learn more about this whole Ririka stuff, and I just hope, just like everything, especially the whole like slice of life stuff. I just hope everyone ends happy, you know. But we'll see. Next, we got Heavenly Delusion, episode 11. Yeah, man. There's just like, I feel like every episode we just have more questions. Like, what is happening? Why? You know, there's so many things here. Like, this whole episode is just questions. You know? And this is one of those shows where it's like, okay, is it gonna end in a satisfying way? You know, I think that's the biggest, like, most like meta question that us viewers can add. Is it gonna end in a satisfying way? Because I feel like every episode does add more and more questions that we didn't necessarily need or want or ask for, but now we have them and now we have to deal with them. So it's like, is it gonna end in a way that answers all these questions? Again, this is a season. I don't know, you know, most likely the source material is not covered with only one season, so that's okay. You know, we don't need everything answered, especially if there's another season, you know, all that stuff, right? Or if there's just more story. Maybe the show doesn't get a second season, but there is more story to be told. But like, there's so many. There's like Tokyo's having a baby, you know. That's like a big thing where it's like, okay, what's gonna happen there? There's something gonna happen with Tokyo. She's not really supposed to be having a baby, right? What's gonna happen with the baby? Was never supposed to happen, right? Like from the children, baby was never supposed to be produced. How did this happen? How also, seemingly cameras everywhere. Y'all didn't like intervene, like there was, you know. I don't know. I don't know. Then we go to the director, and she talks a lot. There's a lot of stuff happening in this conversation, but the thing that I plucked out was she's trying to make people immortal, I believe. Heavenly Delusion, right? The title starts to make more and more sense. Trying to make people immortal, I guess. Trying to like pick up the human race almost and like push them to heaven. Okay. So I guess that's what all this is for. I guess the like weird experimentation with these children, you know, and at the very end the robot does refer to them as Hiriko, which we've heard from Maru and Kiriko. Like the man eaters that they fight are called Hiriko, so it's like okay, so we have this whole place of man eaters, okay, which makes sense, okay. And then we have a moment where we just have like a 3-second cut to this guy walking, profile shot, turns to the camera, and I don't know who that is, but in my mind I'm like, is that the doctor? Is that the guy that they're trying to find? So he's somewhere. Okay. Then we have the like blue-eyed girl, who she can like, when she takes her glasses off, she can look into your soul. It's kind of like Cyclops. If you ever watched the X-Men, right? He wears his glasses, can't hurt you. Well, he can like, you know, it's like a shutter thing where he can, you know, turn them on, whatever. Takes the glasses off, looks into your soul. Makes you hallucinate your like worst fear, your worst nightmare, right? So that was a thing. Is she the only one that has powers? She just has these weird powers that no one else has? I don't. Okay, it's interesting, I guess. The main girl though, she was able to break the hallucination the second time, which is cool. I don't know if that like leads to anything, or that's like indicative of some weird thing that she has going on with her. It's just more questions. And then the very end we have that there's like this big test coming up. I don't know what it is. I don't know if are they going outside. Does this have to do with them being Hiriko? What's going on with the baby? Like there's just so many things, dude. And you know, I'm if I'm being honest, I'm nervous. I feel like I've been nervous the past episode or two. This episode just doesn't reassure me that like there's probably there's 1 to 2 episodes left in this entire season. Probably 2. It's probably 13 episodes. I'm not confident this is gonna end in a way where we finish it and we're like, yeah, that was a season. I'm just getting more and more convinced that this is gonna end in a way where we're like, what? And like that's the feeling that we have, where it's like that didn't really, what? You know, because I'm like, are they gonna get to the doctor by the end of the season? Are they gonna get to like the clone person that they gotta inject by the end of the season? We're gonna have anything like monumental happen at like the orphanage place? There's only, I believe, 2 episodes left, you know, so I don't know, just a lot of questions. I still think they're gonna have answered, but we'll see. Next we have Demon Slayer, Swordsmith Village Arc Episode 9. This was cool. We have Muichiro finishing up his battle, and then finally we have Mitsuri coming in, seeing her fight, and well, we'll get to it. I have some thoughts on Mitsuri. But with Muichiro's fight, yeah, it was cool. Muichiro forced the demon into their true form. I think his one of the funniest things, just kind of the like through line in this whole fight is you know, Muichiro's personality, I think, perfectly just like perfectly opposes this demon, because this demon is like super showy, like wants to talk, wants to have feedback, wants to elicit a visual and verbal reaction out of whoever they're fighting. Muichiro just doesn't give it to him. Muichiro is very blunt, very surface level with their you know, reactions, all that stuff, right? And so just not giving the demon what they want. I thought it was just really funny the whole time. But yeah, and then Muichiro was just nice. He's just filthy. You know, was able to force the demon into true form. Demon, very powerful, very quick, very good. But I'm always I'm always excited to see the different Hashira fight and to see how dope they are, you know. That's one of the best parts about like the battle shonen genre. Is just watching people go up another level and just be like, oh, they were not in their final form yet. They were not showing the extent of their strength. And, you know, I love this one line that Muichiro has, because the demon is like, he says something like, I was holding back, or like, I wasn't taking this fight seriously until now. Now you get to see me take it seriously, and now you're no match for me, or whatever. And then Muichiro does his like 7th art mist breathing or whatever, and right before he cuts off the head of the demon, he says, "You thought you were the only one not taking this fight seriously?" Oh, kidding me right now? You kidding me? You know, and just see the whole like power level stuff. You know, they've been increasing, them getting better and better, and it's like, I wasn't. You thought I was showing you everything I had? Nah, you know, and just again, you know, it's kind of hard to like point out certain moments of a fight, because you just kind of watch them and you're just, you know, enthralled by what's happening. But you know, I just thought that was really fun. You know, it just shows Muichiro, you know, that is something, you know, more and more of what I wanted to see, where I was like, okay, we've seen Muichiro be nice, but we haven't really seen him fight, you know. You know, so for him just to show this and the whole like mist thing, I thought was really cool. Kind of like cloak himself, right? It's kind of hard for him to see, or for the demon to see. and for it to be like super fast, like crazy fast, was cool. You know, and then like at the end where he cut off his head, and then the demon was still like, okay, I got to assess the situation. I gotta, I gotta go back to, like Muzin or whatever the leader's name is. I gotta report. I gotta tell him what we did. And then he sees his own body. And he's like, whoa, wait, I'm decapitated? What? Like, it didn't hit him yet. You know, I thought that was cool. But yeah, Muichiro's nice. And then we get back to Tanjiro's fight. Let's see. Actually, just one last thing. The one character brings Muichiro the like flame piece of the like fire hash. I don't remember his name, but you know we all know the one that died on the on the Infinity Train. They brought the one like fire handle piece to Muichiro, because like saved his life because he was carrying it, and he was like, yeah, I was carrying it for Tanjiro. He wanted to keep it safe because he wants this to be on on his new sword, and that like broke Muichiro, because he just has this like warped outlook on life and like on love and people caring about other people, rightfully so because of what happened in his own life, right? Like some crazy hardships, and that is as an understatement. So for him to have that, where it's like remembering that character. First of all, we see like a very short flashback, and it, obviously the fire Hashira was like super buddy with everyone, super positive, super optimistic. I mean, again, we saw it a lot in the Infinity Train arc, and that kind of broke him. And then also with like Tanjiro caring that much, and like wanting to honor him, like all those emotions mixing around. It's just like, and then reminded him, and then he had the weird little flashback moment with his parents and his brother, like sitting there while he's laying down, like dying, because of the crazy fight he just had. It's like it was all too much for him, and I'm just like, Again, it might be a little cheap. I don't know how earned it was, but it does still hit though, I think. And then we cut to Tanjiro. Tanjiro gets eaten, crushed. This is looking like the end for our hero. And then Mitsuri comes out of nowhere with the clutch save, has her super cool, like whip sword, just slicing up the like dragon thing like crazy. Saves Tanjiro and is like, hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I just got here though. That was a close one, huh? It's like, you stay here, and like Tanjiro can't hear because his eardrums got blown up. So you stay here. I got this. You did so good. You were amazing, but I got this. I was just like, oh dude, I can't wait. Like I cannot wait. I'm so excited for next episode to see how she fights this like dragon, and then also not only the dragon but like the demon itself. I don't know what else that demon has up its sleeve, but very excited. And it's funny because Mitsuri, very popular character so far in the like Demon Slayer fandom, and I was always like, I don't get it. I mean, I understand the whole the like character design, very very likable, right? But I don't really see her like aside from that. If you're like, oh, just like the design, fair, that's fair, because there's other Hashira that we haven't seen in battle. We haven't seen them really interact too much at all, and you can be a fan of those characters as well, right? So that's more than okay. But other than that, I'm just like, other than the character design, I don't really care about the character at all, because I'm just like, we haven't seen her at all. But there's like this little bit we've seen her, aside from this, we've seen her a little bit in the beginning of the season. But like this, just when we're fighting, and like her small interaction, and like how she like praised Tanjiro, just like, oh, that's cool for her to be like, you did amazing, you're awesome, you did your work, sit there, I got this. It was really cool. And then again, just like her cool like whip sword thing, and just how acrobatic she is through the air and everything is really cool. We've only seen a little bit of her fight, so next episode, very excited. Yeah, and I wonder if we're gonna see Tanjiro fight at all. Because I feel like he's pretty ragged. I don't know that we, you know, um, maybe we see a little bit more Nezuko. I could see that. Muichiro is probably done. I would say. Also, just from like a like story perspective, I don't think we need to see any more of him. I think we saw him and like that was what we needed. So, very excited. Next, Mobile Suit Gundam, which from Mercury Season 2, Episode 8. This one was rough. This was definitely a rough episode. Not the roughest. I don't think we'll ever get rougher than episode 5. I think was the one where Selecta's world came crashing down. But again, this is real tough too. A lot of bad stuff. So we have the whole Prospera stuff with the Gundams. That's very much hurting Gundam Inc. Because it's like we're out here trying to say that Gundam is supposed to help people. It is a like medical company where we're creating these tools to help people, right? Like our big thing that we're pushing is these legs, right? So kind of tough to sell this when we have Gundams just wreaking havoc, not a very easy thing to sell. So now like Gundam is like going under, everyone there is worried, right? So that's very bad. Then speaking more of that, Gundam are just attacking the school, just destroying everything. So now the school is, don't know what's gonna happen with that. I guess all the students get a little bit of a vacation because the school looking pretty worse for wear. Yeah, so that's terrible. We, and then we're pretty much in the in the thick of things. We cut the Ghoul, Ghoul's brother, I believe. This is what happened. I'm a little bit confused here, but that's what I believe happened in this moment. Ghoul's brother heard that Ghoul is the one that killed their dad. Is that true? I just don't really remember that. I thought Ghoul's dad. Oh yeah, Ghoul's dad is dead. Right, because that was a big thing with a Ghoul coming back, and they were like, "Hey, so you're," they were like trying to be like tiptoe around it when alert, telling Ghoul that, "Hey, your dad's dead," but Ghoul's already like, "Yeah, I know, I know." But is Ghoul the one that killed his own dad? Is that? I just don't remember that. If it is true, that's tough because his brother obviously didn't know. So now, how's that going to play into the whole relationship? How's that going to play into Ghoul trying to like rebuild his father's company and like try to bring honor to it again? How's his brother going to react to this? Right? That's tough. And then speaking of Ghoul, just to wrap the Ghoul stuff, Ghoul just rips up Shadiq. Just rips him up because he's using a Gundam, I believe, maybe. I don't remember. No, I don't think he is, but whatever. Just destroying it. Just like, you think you got me? No. Just tearing everybody up. So he's killing it. Unfortunately, optics doesn't look good because I think he is using a Gundam. But optics doesn't look good because it doesn't add to the whole, or I guess in a way it adds to the whole, hey, Gundams are ruining everything today. Like news narrative that's hitting. So yeah, not good. A nice moment is that we have Nika who came back and is helping them. Probably not fully forgiven. At some point we're gonna have like probably a deep conversation. With Nika having to explain herself. But as for right now, coming back, because they need her. Nika is the best at the whole machinery stuff. So they need her. But I'm glad she's back. I'm glad that she, hopefully she does. Apologize for everything, and they do have a conversation, and hopefully they're able to forgive her, and hopefully she is like she's out. She clearly has felt guilty about doing this for a long time. So, I don't think it's really on her in the sense of she's like, oh, I don't know if I want to come back. Like in her mind, she's like wrestling with like, oh, I don't know if I really want it. Like, no, she wants to, but she just couldn't up until now. So we have an emotional moment where Norea just got sniped. It seemed like maybe she was coming around. Maybe the one, I don't remember the character's name, but maybe, he was able to, possibly going to be able to get through to her, stop her from acting so erratically, and then she just got sniped out of the air. So that's, not good. And then at the very end, after all this death and destruction and just sadness, even more so, Suletta sees that Petra is dead? Question mark. We don't see them haul off the body or anything, but she doesn't look alive, which is never good. And that's scared to kind of running with her and be like, oh, here's what I'm gonna do when we get out of here. What are you gonna do when you get out of here? And now to see her dead is just a huge blow to the heart, right? And Suletta just dead at the end, not physically, but emotionally dead. She's just, they find her and they're like, oh, we gotta do blah, blah, blah. And Suleta's just like, I don't care about any of that. Help me. And she's just moving all the rubble. There's people that could still be under here. She's just kind of moving on instinct at this point. And, all of their Earth House people are going to try to help her move the rubble, save some people. And that just paints a accurate little picture as to where everyone's at. Again, not the most heartbreaking episode of the season, obviously, but one of just hopelessness, I'll say. A very hopeless episode where it's just it's all coming together in a way that the quote-unquote good guys do not want everything kind of falling apart. And then at the very end, like I said, paints a very accurate picture, is because it's just Suletta and the people being like, this is all we can do. This is all we can do to help. Is us moving the rubble of our school. It's supposed to be a safe place, supposed to be a place of, building the future. Moving the rubble to possibly save people that are under there. Probably going to find a lot of dead people. So it sucks, It's that thing where you try to look to the future and be like, this season, this show is one of the ones that started a little late, also had a couple delays, so we're only on episode 8. There's still, another probably 5 episodes left. So we have, a bit of runway for, for the rest of the season, but I don't know. I think the biggest question for me is Miorine. What is Miorine going to do as the hopeful president of the group? What is she going to do? Is she going to stay there, try to get through to Prospera? Probably not going to work, right? Is she going to try to stay there? I don't think she's going to stay there. I don't think she's going to stay on Earth. I don't think there's anything she can do on Earth, really. She's not going to be able to get through to Prospera. She's not going to get through to the people. She's not going to be able to get through to the Earth government. I think she's probably going to come back. I think her best bet is probably, I don't know. I would like for her to come back and talk to Suletta and the Earth House and try to maybe come up with a plan of some sort. I think them all regrouping, like the ghoul as well, right? I think them all regrouping is going to be their best bet to be like, let's all talk about what just happened. Let's all pool our knowledge of the situation and let's try to come up with a plan, because there's clearly been some puppet master type stuff that has been happening to all of us. And so we need to come up with what are we going to do to, it's just so tough, because I feel like they're all kids. They're all kids, and the adults have been playing them the whole time. It sucks. So we'll see. Next we got Insomniacs After School, episode 9. Yeah, this episode was terrible. No, this episode was great. Let's see what happened. Oh yeah, this is all job thing, and them working towards a training camp. So the school approved the training camp, but they're not going to fund it. I don't remember exactly why. They just don't have the funds, or if I don't know, it's just a new club, so they're like, you haven't really proven yourself yet, which is a big thing, which is funny. You know, I feel like I know more about like the like anime club culture than I do about American clubs in real life. Do American clubs get funds from the school? From like, well, I'm thinking about like high school. I don't really think they do. I don't know. They usually have to like raise money, right? I think in college they do get funding of some sort. Anyway, but yeah, they'll get funding, so they gotta get jobs. Nakami tries to get a job. He fails the job interview, which sucks. But then Shiramaru offers him a job, which I think is perfect. I think in hindsight, that was like clearly the move that I think you should have gone for at first, where you're like, I mean, you guys know someone that actively helps out and has some passionate interest in your club, that is the manager of I can't think of the word, company, I guess, business. That's a better word, business. I mean, I don't know. I guess sometimes it is tough to ask people that you're close to for like a big favor like that. But you should have just asked. I feel like you should have just asked. So yeah, able to make some money now, so that's going to be great to get their little training camp on. Another big event thing. Hopefully it goes much better than the meteor shower party. So yeah, that's cool. Maguri is able to help out though, because Nakami is like, oh, you got like your like swim club stuff, so you got other stuff to worry about. I don't have anything going on other than the club, so I'm also like the president or whatever, so I'm the one that's gonna take this on the shoulders, right? But Maguri is able to help out because she's like, hey, my grandmother actually lives right around here, which is like fairly close to where they're gonna hold the training camp. And so that helps out because it's like, oh, if we can all kind of lodge there, that'll save us money on lodging, maybe even food, travel expenses, all that stuff. So that'll be a super big help. It'll make it so much more possible for us to have this thing. So good stuff. And that's just a nice little moment too for Maguri. Again, we're getting into the whole like slice of life romance type, tropes, and it's like one character helping out another character genuinely makes them feel good. It's like, oh yes, I helped them. He doesn't want me working because I got the club stuff, but I was able to still help and contribute, and it's great. And we have a nice little, somewhat of a cliffhanger where Maguri's sister says that she's gonna tag along to the training camp, which two thoughts there. One, Maguri doesn't want that. Clearly, you can tell that she doesn't want that. Probably for different reasons. I mean, go along with my other thought where it's like, we do see her on and off this episode. She doesn't seem like a cool person. She kind of just like bosses Maguri around and sort of just like expects certain things. And I'm just like, I don't like that. That is not a personality that I vibe with. But then also like, I'm sure she doesn't want her to see how close she is to Nakami, I guess. Some sort of embarrassment there. And also, on the other hand, she doesn't want her sister to embarrass her in front of Nakami. That sort of thing. I'm sure that's on her mind. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Again, only a few episodes or so left. So we're closing in on this. I don't know where this will end. Trying to think of that, where it's like other shows you can kind of see where it's going to end, right? Like with Demon Slayer, it's like, okay, it's clearly going to end with them probably killing off this last demon, and then this I'm trying to think of like an end point where I'm like, next episode could very well be them going to the training camp. I'm like, okay, where's this at? Or it could not be, or we can have a little more nice little fluff, nice little journey next episode. I don't know. It'll be fun though. So next, Oshi no Ko episode 8. Um, yeah, good stuff. A lot of Akane and Aqua this episode, really building up their relationship. So we have Akane acting as I, very much flusters Aqua, right? Just throws him completely off balance, right? Because she does a scarily good job at imitating I. She did her research. Um, Akane likes Aqua back, right? Because like how flustered he gets, and we don't really think that Aqua likes Akane, but Aqua does very much like I. So that kind of flusters him and kind of puts him in a position where it seems like, he is maybe romantically interested in Akane, and then Akane is like, well, I mean, if that's how he feels, and she gets flustered at that idea, which clearly indicates that she is into him as well. So a little bit of a sparking some romance there. That's nice. Um, um, we have a nice little middle scene with Aqua playing catch with Kana, which is funny because we're having this little love triangle thing that's happening where which is funny because like, well, I guess not, but Aqua, or sorry, Akane and Kana don't really know that they're battling each other. I mean, Kana is actively trying to get one over on Akane, right? Akane I don't really knows about Kana at all, so she's just kind of shooting from the hip, shooting from her heart. But they do have a nice little, conversation here, which is funny because it's like, why are we playing catch? It's so weird. But they do have a conversation and about like romance and about like, you know, what they look for and everything. And it is very eye opening, I feel like, because Kana, we clearly know, likes Aqua. She just doesn't, she's not able to like uh, directly express that, because if she did, she would just confess to him, right? But she does have her own hesitancy and reservations about possibly what his feelings are or aren't. Um, she does like it though because he does mention that it's just purely a work relationship, so that kind of makes her like, oh, okay, that's good. Um, so yeah, good stuff there. Um, although Aqua does think that he can use Akane, which is very on paper doesn't sound very good, very healthy, very genuine. Not a good guy type of thing to do, but he sees how crazy Akane went with researching I, and like how well she has like her thought patterns down and her like her behavioral patterns down, and so he does some quick math in his head and he's like, Akane might be able to help me lead to all the answers to the questions that I have. She might be this like Sherlock Holmes type character. And so in his mind he's like, I can use her. I can be with her, and she might be useful to me, which is always like a bad thing when it comes to love, right? Like, this person could be useful to me. It's like, well, hold on. That person genuinely likes you, maybe loves you, and all you do is like, she could be an asset. So we'll see how this plays out. Because let's go a little further where, I do like when they have the conversation afterwards at the place that they're at, the restaurant or whatever that they're at. That he doesn't fully lie to her, which is nice because I was expecting, and again, full transparency here, I have read the manga. I always like to mention that with any show, just to don't want to fake anything and be like, oh wow, this is crazy. So yeah, but I don't remember everything, right? Especially from here because this is like towards the beginning of the manga, so whatever, right? But I was thinking, I was like, oh man, he's probably gonna like just like confess to her and like give off the aura that he's like in love with her or whatever, but he doesn't. he does admit like, no, I see this as more of like a work thing that's gonna be beneficial to us as like a work thing, right? Um, but he does also say that I'm very interested in you as an actress, which isn't a lie. You know, I think it can be perceived in a way that isn't how he really feels, but it does help Akane feel good, which is very clever on his part to like say it that way. But at the very least, I do like that he didn't fully lie and just be like, "Oh yeah, I've liked you for a long time" or whatever. It's like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't really like you in a romantic way, unfortunately. Um, you know, but they're gonna keep along with it, which we'll see how that goes. And we'll see exactly. You know, I'm interested to see how far he's able to go with her with the whole like researching eye thing, and like still keep information from her. Like, I don't know if he's ever gonna be like, hey, so I had a past life, and I was reincarnated as Ai's baby, but she was killed by, I believe, my father, and I need your help to help me. I don't think he's ever gonna do that. I think that would be crazy. But you know, I wonder what information he's gonna give her to, you know, I guess my question is, I wonder how direct he's gonna be to get the information he wants, because at a certain point, you can only get so much help. The amount of help you can get from someone can be proportional to how much information you're able to give them so they can help you, right? So, we'll see. And at the very end, we have Aqua recruiting Memcho. I believe that's how you say the name. I don't know. Memcho. Because she just comes out and she's like, don't tell anyone, but I actually always wanted to be an idol, but YouTube just kind of took off and I'm just really good at it. And then he's like, well, why don't you come be an idol? And she's like, oh my god. So I guess now we're going to have a third member. So that's pretty cool. I mean, as long as she actually goes through with it, which we don't know, you know, she might still be like, I don't know, you know, my YouTube thing, I don't know if it'll work. I'm sure Ruby will be very happy to have another member. Honestly, deep down, I'm sure Kana will love to have another member too, because I feel like she wants reassurance, right? Like more and more so, she wants this to be real because it reassures her that she made a good decision. Because if this blows up in her face, then she's like, oh, I should have never said yes. I should just kept doing with my acting thing, solely that. But when more and more pieces get added to making B Komachi real and valid, then it's like, oh, it makes herself feel better. Like, oh, okay, maybe I made the right choice in saying, kind of putting acting on the back seat that I've worked out my whole life and being an idol. So we'll see. Good stuff though. Then lastly, we got Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible episode 10. Yeah, good stuff here. Again, just a nice slice of life show, man. Like, you know, I feel like we're getting closer and closer to them, like, maybe being like a thing, but who can say, you know? We have a moment where they touch each other's hair. It's very nice. Again, the whole like physical touch thing, right? Like that's obviously a step in the direction of romance, right? So that was cool. And then on top of that, Kubo made sure Raishi admit that he likes ponytails. I thought it was really funny because she was like, "Hey, what's your favorite hairstyle in what's your favorite hairstyle?" Right? She's like, and he's trying to avoid the question, like, "Oh, I don't know," and then she just starts throwing out a bunch of hairstyles, and he's like, "That's cool, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool," and he's like, "Well, you know, I know a lot of guys who like ponytails, so," and she's like, "What about you? Is that what you like?" With her smug face, and he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Good to know." He's like, it is a little message like, "Kubo will remember this." You know, so I thought that was funny. And he immediately bolts, you know, because he's embarrassed, you know, whatever, right? But I like it. It is a very classic Kubo where she's like clearly fishing for information. Something that Shiraishi likes, so that she can do that to make him happy and make him like her, right? So yeah, that whole little sequence was very amusing. Then they compare each other's heights. Very clearly, Shiraishi's taller, but they compare each other's heights and whatever, and it all leads up to the moment where the whole like ruler on the wall thing is very reminiscent of a classic anime wall pin, where the one character the one character's like leaning against a wall, another character kind of gets real close to them and like puts their hand there and gets real close. Very classic like romance trope act, I guess. And so that was very reminiscent of that. Then even afterwards, we see Kubo sitting down and aside from the stairs, and she's like, we got way closer than I thought we were gonna get. Which is also a very funny thing about Kubo's character, where she's the one who always kind of incites all these situations. Because she tries to bring these things on to kind of mess with Shiraishi, but also learn more things about him and like get closer to him, right? But then a lot of times she realizes that she kind of went too far, and she's like, oh, this water is a lot deeper than I thought it was. And she has a moment like this where she's like, she clearly knew what she was doing, but then she when she comes up for air, she's like, oh, we got way closer. We were physically way closer than I thought we were gonna get. So that's funny. And then Kubo takes his track jacket, again to kind of compare heights, but she takes the track jacket, and the moment where she's like, oh, she overhears someone else wearing the boyfriend's track jacket. She's like, oh, it smells like him, and she's like, and as you could see her the gears turning in her head, where she's like, does Shiraishi's track jacket smell like him? It's just so funny. In the very end, we have Seita, Shiraishi's little brother, buying eggs all by himself. His first errand, he does it all flawlessly. It's very cute, and again, very reminiscent of Kubo's first thing to buy eggs. Now she fell over, broke the eggs. Very sad stuff. But yeah. So, and then it also leaves off a nice little foreshadowing, possibly, to the older sister being like, hey, whenever Kubo cries, you just rub her head a little bit. She loves that. And then she tells Shiraishi that, to like, hey, you should do that sometime. I'm counting on you if she's ever sad for you to make her happy. And then again, just such a schemer, And she goes to Kubo and is like, I'm sure you'd like it a lot more if what would she say? I'm sure you'd like it a lot more if the one you like. She either says like the person you like, or like your crush or something like that. If your crush is the one that was rubbing your head, and then she like has like a flash of embarrassment and like, oh, why would you say that, or no, that's not true, and then she immediately goes into like deep in thought of like, yeah, no, I agree, I would like that. So possible foreshadowing there. Maybe we'll get an episode, or just a scene where Kubo is sad for some reason. Either she feigns sadness, or she's legitimately sad about something, and Shiraishi has to kind of very unsure of what to do, and then we see the flashback to be like, oh, if you pat her head, and then him like fighting with, should I do it, should I not do it, I don't so I'm sure we'll get something like that. So yeah, good stuff though. And that is it. Not another Isekai for this week. Yeah, not much more to say. I think good episodes all around. Like I said, I'll say it every week until it's untrue, but we are nearing the end. Some of these shows probably only have 2 episodes left, with the max probably being like 5. But yeah, we're getting in there. Look forward to very soon Gonna do. I mean, obviously, just finishing up the shows, which is always nice to see the end, the huge climax, right? But also very soon, next season, right? We're gonna do a preview episode, just like I always do, on the shows that I, at the time, plan on watching for the summer season. And yeah. Keep watching the shows, and also gonna keep mentioning this as well. Look into next season. Look into the shows that you want to watch. Let me know. If there's ones that I should be watching, tell me. So I can watch them. And yeah, that is it. Until next time, watch my anime.